So we find out I have myasthenia gravis, and I've been diagnosed with myasthenia gravis, and it shakes me. It hits me so hard. I probably cried for a couple nights, and then something happened. One night I just thought to pray, and I was praying. Um, Now after the diagnosis, of course I was still in the hospital because I wasn't well enough to leave. I remained in the hospital for quite some time before they released me, but they gave me steroids and started to kind of pump me back up to try to get my strength. Tried to get my receptors to respond properly. And within that time, we started to discuss treatment options, and some days I was honestly had the thought of what's the point if it's not curable? Why do we need treatment? And then there were other days where I wanted to fight with everything that was in me. There were days when I was angry. Not angry at anyone particularly, but angry at the situation. I don't ever think I became angry at God. As a matter of fact, I know I didn't. I never charged God for what was happening to me. Even though I went through so many emotions. My heart was broken, I was upset, just really like in the twilight zone. It was like a whirlwind. But nonetheless, so we got me strong enough to go home. I went home and then I got sick again. So now we're in December of 2009. When I got sick again, by that time my heart had stopped. And now it became a little bit more dangerous. My lungs had shut down. I was losing oxygen to my brain. My body had become in a state of being poisoned by carbon. I had too much in my blood system, and I was literally dying. It was taking me out. Even though I did have, before I left that hospital in August, I left with faith. I left believing, I left saying, okay, we're gonna fight, see what needs to be done. But I still had days. It was such a schizophrenic moment. I was just alone, and I didn't really tell anyone what I was dealing with. my thought behind that was it's incurable, so there's nothing you can do. Nothing a human can do. So I tell them, why put that on someone else? And so that's kind of how that came about. But I got sick again that December, and it was life-threatening. Seriously life-threatening. When I woke up from the coma, because I had passed out, my lungs had collapsed. And so I woke up in a coma, and they said that we needed to do an emergency surgery. That emergency surgery was called a thymectomy. And we were doing it in hopes of that by removing my thymus gland, I could potentially go into remission. So I think about it now, it's like, okay, there's no cure, but you're trying to do a surgery that you think may potentially put me in remission. Wouldn't that be a cure if it did? But I'm in my 20s, so I don't really question much. I've always been inquisitive. I've always been a seeker of information. But I think that came about more so in my 20s, dealing with this. So they tell me I have to do a emergency surgery, and that I asked them to give me time to think about it. Because by then, even though my relationship with my parents isn't that great, I still wanted to tell them. I was still hoping that they would be there. They lived in New Orleans, Louisiana, on the outside in the suburbs of New Orleans Metro. And so I'm in Shreveport because I had to go back to the hospital in Shreveport. And so give me some time to think about it, because I'm trying to decide if I want to do this or if I just want to let what happens happen. So I'm praying, I'm seeking God, I'm believing God for a healing, for a miracle. Like, oh, God can do, He can do this quick miracle and I can be done, which He definitely can. But I'm like, okay, we're going to pray, get the prayer warriors. Y'all pray. So at that moment, I started to let the word get out, let people know what was going on. Mind you, I'm in ministry, so. And I prayed that night. So I'm praying, I'm crying. I'm like, God, please tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. And while I'm praying, and crying, and just seeking God, and just giving Him my fears, and my pain, and my worries, and stress, and, just letting Him know just how I feel. An angel enters my room and touches me and says, I got you. And when he said that, he said, I got you. fell asleep in peace. And I woke up the next day and said, okay, let's do it. Because at that moment, when he said, I got you, I believed it. There's an angel in front of me saying, I got you. And it was so beautiful. So beautiful. So beautiful. There was this peace that entered the room that was unthinkable. The presence of God in that moment. Now, mind you, even though when the angel touched me and I heard, I got you, the angel's lips were not moving, but there was a loud sound. That said, I got you. It's loud. It filled the room. But not in a way that I was afraid, but in a way that I was relieved. Because I didn't know what to do, and I didn't want anyone's opinion on what to do. I've always been independent that way. I don't listen too much to other people's opinions on what I should do. I've always tried to think for myself, make my own decisions, be my own person. So that decision was a decision that I didn't want influenced by anyone else's experiences, anyone else's fears. Because in actuality, no one in my family had been through that, through what I was going through. My family isn't a family that deals with a lot of sickness. My siblings were healthy athletes. I come from a family of athletes. My dad played football, semi-pro. My mom, she was very healthy and active. Grandparents, even though, they all passed away with the sickness, it wasn't anything like this. And they weren't living. So I had no living grandparents. All I had was aunties and uncles and my parents and godparents. So I couldn't even draw on that type of wisdom. So I just wanted to make the decision on my own. And then let everyone else know what I decided to do. Because I just knew that it was going to be my fight. I may have had people next to me who were with me. I may have had hopes of people being there for me. But it was still my fight. I was fighting for my life. It was a fight they couldn't fight for me. It was a fight they could do nothing about. They could only support me. So I had to hear from God. I had to, and He answered.